giving you your January 2019 real estate market update for the greater Metro Denver area. Now, when we're talking about the greater Metro Denver area, we're talking about counties that go all the way up north to Weld, west to Boulder and Broomfield, down south to Douglas, and then all the way out east to Adams and Arapahoe County. Now, why we're taking a look at such a large perspective is that this information is a good indicator of where other markets or cities and counties will eventually go. So let's dive into the information and let's take a look. First, want to let you know that the Denver Post recently came out with an article that said home prices actually fall in Denver and in Boulder, whether or not that this was a blip or a trend to be continuing. We were actually identifying this information that was going to happen months ago based upon what we know as our trend indicators, both in demand and supply. This will tell us where prices are eventually going to be going. But before we do that, let's hop and let's see the lagging indicator and see ultimately what sold prices are doing. Now, obviously they fell in Denver and Boulder, but as we can see when we're taking a look at these larger areas, the overall sales price actually just appreciated right around 1.6% when we're talking about the average and 1.7 when we're talking about the median. Now, this is lagging indicator, so where is the market going to be going? To get an idea of this information, we want to pay attention to what our demand and supply is going to be doing, because this will determine where prices will be heading in the future. So, supply, the amount of active listings or new listings also coming onto the marketplace. Again, for the third month in a row, we're seeing a huge spike in terms of the overall amount of supply on the marketplace. Right around 43% when taking a look at the active listings, and then about 12% when we're analyzing the new listings. Now, obviously, we're going to see some information on the prior month for new listings being super huge in terms of an increase, but we need to pay attention because we're talking about December to January, and that's a seasonality component. Now, under contract listings and sold listings, this is going to be the amount of demand in the marketplace. Now, we do see that the under contract listings are picking up a little bit when comparing them to the prior month, which is obvious because it was December, but from a year ago. So that is more than likely an indication of the increased amount of supply, because as we see the amount of overall solds, that number is actually down 30% when comparing it to December, which is really odd because December is typically a slower month. And then also January to January, or point to point of 18 to 19, we're seeing a decrease of about 11%. So again, a huge spike in the amount of supply. A decent decrease in the amount of demand tells us the only thing that can happen in that equation is to see prices start to fall if the trend continues. And that is a trend, at least in terms of supply, that has been continuing. Now, if we're looking at where's the average days on market, or how long does it take to get a home sold, we're right around the neighborhood of about 43 days for the average, 28 for median. I pay more of attention for the average. That number is actually up roughly about 16% when comparing it to last year. And then also to list to sales price ratio. If you put your home on the market and you're correctly priced, what sort of negotiating room are buyers typically getting? And right now we're seeing that number being right around 1.5%. So if you list your house, you can roughly expect to get 98.5% of that for the list price. Now, where is this information coming from? Huge thank you to Denver Metro Association of Realtors, because that's where we're getting this. To get that, you simply click the link here. Now, if you want to find out what is going on within your specific city or hood, if you would, take a look at the report. We've got a hyperlink and then a pretty detailed analysis on what is going on with that particular city, going on in a video, and then covering all the data. And this we can dive into a little bit more with some fun little graphics. So thank you so much for tuning in. Mike Gold here with North Metro Denver Real Estate. I look forward to speaking to you in the future.